little fox.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 1, The Cyclone. Dorothy lived on a farm in Kansas with her Aunt Em and Uncle Henry. Her aunt and uncle were hardworking and quiet. They spent all their time working, so they had no time to play with Dorothy. Dorothy would have been lonely if it weren't for her dog Toto. One day, Dorothy and Toto stopped playing, and Aunt Em and Uncle Henry stopped working. They all looked at the sky. Dorothy didn't like what she saw. Across the field, the sky was the color of night. Suddenly, a flash of lightning split the darkness, and the wind began to howl.
A cyclone is coming,
said Uncle Henry.
I'll help the animals. Em, you and Dorothy go to the storm cellar.
Toto jumped out of Dorothy's arms, ran into the house, and hid under a bed. Aunt Em ran to the storm cellar, but Dorothy ran after Toto. The house shook violently and then began to spin. The house shook again, and the spinning stopped. Holding Toto in her arms, Dorothy looked out the window. She was amazed by what she saw. The boring, colorless landscape of Kansas had been replaced with flowers, fountains, and brightly colored birds. Strange, tiny people were running toward the house. Outside, an old woman approached Dorothy and bowed.
"You're a great hero,"
said the woman.
"We thank you for killing the Wicked Witch of the East. The Munchkins are free."
The other people cheered, but Dorothy was confused.
"I haven't killed anyone,"
she said fearfully.
"Well, your house did,"
said the old woman.
"And the result is the same. The Munchkins are free." "Oh dear,"
cried Dorothy.
"The house fell on her. Who was she?" "She was the Wicked Witch of the East,"
said the woman.
"And the Munchkins were her slaves." "Are you a Munchkin?"
asked Dorothy.
"Oh no, I am the Good Witch of the North. I came because I heard the Wicked Witch was dead." "Where I come from,"
said Dorothy,
"all witches are dead." "That doesn't surprise me,"
said the Good Witch.
"If houses often fall from the sky, not even the Great Oz could survive." "The Great Oz?"
asked Dorothy.
"Yes, the Wizard of Oz,"
answered the Good Witch.
"He is the most powerful wizard in the land."
Dorothy was about to ask something when the Munchkins all gave a sudden shout. The body of the Wicked Witch was gone. Only her silver shoes were left.
"These shoes are yours now,"
said the Good Witch.
"They are magical, but I do not know what they do." "Can they take me back to Kansas?"
said Dorothy.
"Maybe,"
said the Good Witch.
"but you should ask the Wizard of Oz." "Where does he live?"
asked Dorothy.
"He lives in the Emerald City,"
said the Good Witch.
"It's a long journey, but easy if you follow the yellow brick road."
"The yellow brick road?" said Dorothy.
"Yes,"
answered the Good Witch.
"It begins over there and goes right to the Emerald City."
"Will you come with me?" asked Dorothy hopefully.
"No, I cannot,"
said the Good Witch.
"But I will give you a kiss. My kiss will protect you. No one will harm you. Well, no one except maybe the Wicked Witch of the West."
"The Wicked Witch of the West?" said Dorothy, puzzled.
"Yes, you must be careful of her,"
said the Good Witch. Dorothy had many questions, but the Good Witch kissed her on the forehead just then. Dorothy could feel the magic enveloping her body.
"Goodbye, good luck, and remember, stay on the yellow brick road,"
said the Good Witch. Toto gave a loud bark as the good witch suddenly disappeared.
Well, Toto,
Said Dorothy.
I guess we should pack and then follow the yellow brick road.
She put some food in her picnic basket and then locked the door to her house.
Come along, Toto. It's time to go see the wizard.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 2, The Scarecrow. Dorothy followed the yellow brick road all afternoon, and then she wondered where she would sleep for the night. Not far ahead, she saw a small Munchkin village, but all the houses seemed empty. When she came to the last and biggest house in the village, she understood why. Everyone in the village was there. All the Munchkins knew who Dorothy was. She was famous, and Bach, the host, was very happy to have her as a guest.
You killed the Wicked Witch of the East. You must be a powerful witch.
Bach said to Dorothy.
I am not a witch,
Replied Dorothy.
I am an ordinary girl.
Girl or witch,
Said Bach.
you can stay at my house.
In the morning, Dorothy said goodbye and continued down the yellow brick road. She hadn't walked far when she came to a cornfield. In the cornfield was a scarecrow. As Dorothy looked at the scarecrow, she thought she saw it blink its eyes.
Impossible.
Thought Dorothy. Then the scarecrow smiled and nodded its head. Curious, Dorothy went over to the scarecrow.
Good day.
Said the scarecrow.
Did you speak?
Asked Dorothy.
Yes.
Answered the scarecrow.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Replied Dorothy.
And you?
I'm not well.
Said the scarecrow.
I'm stuck to this pole. Can you help me?
Straw men are very light, so Dorothy was able to easily lift him from the pole.
Thank you.
Said the scarecrow.
I feel better now.
You're welcome.
Said Dorothy.
Who are you?
Asked the scarecrow.
And where are you going?
My name is Dorothy, and I'm going to the Emerald City to see the Wizard of Oz.
Where is the Emerald City? And who is Oz?
Asked the scarecrow.
Don't you know?
Dorothy asked in surprise.
No, I don't know anything.
Answered the scarecrow sadly.
My head is made of straw, so I have no brain.
Oh,
Said Dorothy.
I'm sorry to hear that. Oz is a great wizard.
Do you think Oz could give me a brain?
Asked the scarecrow hopefully.
I don't know,
Said Dorothy.
but come with me and we will ask him together. I'm scared to go and see the wizard alone. Are you scared?
Oh, I'm not afraid.
Answered the scarecrow.
I'll tell you a secret. There is only one thing in the world that I am afraid of.
The farmer who made you?
Interrupted Dorothy.
Oh no,
Said the scarecrow.
I'm afraid of fire.
Let's not talk about fire and scary things.
Said Dorothy.
Tell me a story.
Me?
Exclaimed the scarecrow.
My life has been too short. I was made only 2 days ago. Why don't you tell me about the place you are from?
Dorothy told the scarecrow about her aunt and uncle and their farm in Kansas. She was very sad.
Why are you sad?
Asked the scarecrow.
You said Kansas is dull and boring. Why do you want to go back?
Because, my brainless friend, there's no place like home.
Said Dorothy, weeping.
Shall we spend the night over there?
Asked the scarecrow, pointing to a cottage.
Okay.
Said Dorothy. The next morning when Dorothy woke up, she said,
I need water.
Why do you need water?
Asked the scarecrow.
I need water to wash my face and to drink with breakfast.
She replied.
Being alive sounds inconvenient.
Said the scarecrow.
You need to sleep, wash, eat, and drink. But you have a brain, and I'd do anything for a brain.
Behind the cottage, they found a clear spring. Dorothy realized she didn't have much bread left, so she was glad her friend didn't eat. After breakfast, Dorothy was startled to hear what sounded like a low groan. The noise came from the forest nearby.
What was that?
Asked Dorothy fearfully.
I don't know,
Said the Scarecrow.
but we should go look. Someone may be hurt.
They heard another low groan.
Look!
Shouted Dorothy.
What's that through the trees?
They entered the forest and were amazed at what they saw. A man made of tin and holding an axe stood frozen, as if he was about to chop a tree. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 3, The Tin Man. Dorothy and the Scarecrow were amazed. Standing in the forest was a man made of tin.
Did you groan?
Asked Dorothy.
Yes,
The Tin Man answered sadly.
I have been groaning for over a year. You are the first to hear me.
How can we help you?
Asked Dorothy softly because his voice sounded so sad.
Oil my joints.
Said the Tin Man.
They are rusted. I cannot move them.
Sir, I have no oil. I only have bread in my basket.
Said Dorothy.
There's an oil can in my cottage.
Said the Tin Man.
Get it, and you can make me better.
Dorothy ran to the cottage and brought the oil can back.
Where do you need oil?
Asked Dorothy.
Do my neck first.
Said the Tin Man.
Now do my arms.
As soon as his arms were free, the Tin Man lowered his axe and leaned it against a tree.
I've been holding that axe for more than a year. Do my legs.
He continued. Dorothy and the Scarecrow did as they were asked. The Tin Man gave a cry of joy.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Said Dorothy.
You're lucky we were on our way to see Oz, a great wizard, or we wouldn't have hurt you.
Why are you going to see Oz?
He asked.
I want to go back to Kansas, and the Scarecrow wants a brain rather than straw in his head,
She replied. The Tin Man thought for a moment and asked.
Do you think Oz would give me a heart?
Maybe,
Answered Dorothy.
hearts are probably as easy as brains for the Wizard of Oz.
May I join you?
Asked the Tin Man.
Yes, come along.
Said the Scarecrow.
Yes,
Agreed Dorothy. So the Tin Man shouldered his axe, and they all followed the yellow brick road. Soon, Dorothy was bored because there was nothing much to see on the long journey. So she asked,
who made you, Tin Man? Scarecrow was made by a farmer. Were you made by a woodcutter?
No, I was a woodcutter's son.
Said the Tin Man.
How did you become a Tin Man?
She asked.
It's a love story, with a curse by the Wicked Witch of the East.
He replied.
Please tell us.
Said Dorothy. The Tin Man was quiet for a moment and then began.
I fell in love with a beautiful girl, and I asked her to marry me.
What did she say?
Asked Dorothy.
She said she would marry me when I had enough money to buy a house.
The Tin Man replied.
Her stepmother was a lazy woman. She wanted her stepdaughter to stay with her and do all the housework, so she asked the Wicked Witch to prevent the marriage.
What happened?
Asked Dorothy.
The witch enchanted my axe.
Said the Tin Man.
One day when I was working, the axe cut off my leg. I went to a tinsmith, and he made me a leg. I went back to work again, and the axe slipped. I had lost my other leg, but my love made me strong. The tinsmith made me another leg, and I went back to work. The next time the axe slipped, I lost both my arms.
Oh no!
Exclaimed Dorothy.
Thanks to my love and the tinsmith, I was soon back at work.
Continued the Tin Man.
This angered the witch, so the next time the axe took my head. I thought that was the end, but the tinsmith made me a head, and I went back to work. When the axe struck again, I was cut in two. The tinsmith made a body out of tin, but the body had no heart. Without a heart, I had lost my love for the beautiful girl. That is why I want one.
Dorothy was very moved by the story, but she was also worried. There was very little bread left in her basket. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 4, The Cowardly Lion.
When will we be out of this forest?
Dorothy asked the Tin Man.
Oh, I don't know,
He replied.
but we are safe. I have my axe and my oil can. Nothing but fire can hurt the scarecrow, and you have the kiss of the good witch on your forehead.
Who will protect Toto?
Asked Dorothy nervously. Suddenly, a lion jumped onto the road and made a terrible roar. With one blow of his paw, the lion sent the scarecrow spinning, and with another blow, he struck the Tin Man down. Toto barked and rushed toward the lion. The lion opened his mouth, and Dorothy was frightened for Toto. She slapped the lion on his nose as hard as she could.
Don't you dare bite Toto!
Screamed Dorothy.
You should be ashamed! A big lion like you biting a little dog!
I didn't bite him.
Said the lion.
No, but you tried to!
Said Dorothy.
You're nothing but a big coward!
Yes.
Said the lion, hanging his head in shame.
I can't help it. I've always been a coward.
Why are you a coward?
Asked Dorothy, looking at the great beast in surprise. He was as big as a small horse.
I don't know.
He replied.
I guess I was born this way. I've never had to fight. I've only had to roar.
That's not right.
Said the scarecrow.
A lion should be brave.
Yes.
Said the lion, wiping a tear from his eye with his tail.
But whenever there is danger, I get scared.
You just need some courage.
Said the Tin Man.
Yes.
Said the lion tearfully.
I need courage.
You should come with us,
Said Dorothy.
We're going to see the wizard.
Added the Tin Man.
The wizard?
Asked the lion.
Yes, the Wizard of Oz,
Explained Dorothy.
I want to go home. The Scarecrow wants a brain, the Tin Man wants a heart, and you need courage.
Yes, courage.
Said the lion.
I want to ask for courage.
They camped under a large tree near a small stream. Dorothy and Toto ate the last of their bread.
Take these.
Said the scarecrow, giving Dorothy a handful of nuts.
If squirrels can eat them, then so can you.
Oh, thank you,
Said Dorothy. After breakfast, they set off. While walking, they heard strange noises. They immediately began to run.
Did you hear that?
Asked Dorothy.
They are the Kalidas.
Said the lion.
What are the Kalidas?
Asked Dorothy.
They are monsters with bodies like bears and heads like tigers.
Replied the lion.
I'm very afraid of them.
Dorothy and the others reached a cliff with a river far below.
Oh no!
Screamed Dorothy.
We're trapped! What will we do now?
Here is a tall tree.
Said the scarecrow thoughtfully.
With Tin Man's help, we could make a bridge.
Excellent idea.
Said the lion. Tin Man cut down the tree so it formed a bridge across the river. As the group began to cross, they heard a sharp growl. They all turned to look and saw two Kalidas running toward them.
Quick!
Cried the lion. He roared at the Kalidas while his friends made it across the bridge. The Kalitas stopped, but then rushed forward again.
My roar didn't work!
Cried the lion.
They're still coming!
Tin Man, start chopping the bridge!
Said the Scarecrow.
Yes!
Said Dorothy.
And hurry!
Right away, the Tin Man swung his axe at the bridge. The bridge soon collapsed, carrying the ugly beasts with it into the river below.
You were so brave!
Dorothy said to the lion.
No, I was so scared!
Said the lion.
Anyway, we made it!
Said Dorothy, relieved.
Yes, and look,
Said the Tin Man.
we're almost out of the forest.
To the Emerald City!
Said Dorothy. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 5, Trapped on the River. At last, Dorothy and her friends exited the forest. In front of them lay open land and a river with a powerful current. The Tin Man eyed the river.
How will we cross that river?
He asked his friends.
Oh, that's easy.
Said the Scarecrow.
You will cut some logs and we will build a raft.
With the Tin Man's axe, the lion's strength, and the Scarecrow's encouragement, a raft was soon built.
How will we steer the raft?
Asked Dorothy.
We'll make long poles.
Replied the Scarecrow.
We will push the raft across the river.
Careful!
Shouted the Tin Man to the lion.
If I fall into the river, I'll rust for sure.
Sorry.
Said the lion.
Use the poles to push us off.
Said the Scarecrow. They all pushed hard and were soon making their way across the river. The Tin Man looked nervous.
This isn't good.
He said.
No, not at all.
Said the Scarecrow.
What's wrong?
Asked Dorothy.
If the river takes us any farther downriver,
Answered the Tin Man.
we'll be in trouble.
Yes!
Said the lion, who was starting to cry.
It'll take us to the Wicked Witch of the West! She'll kill us for sure!
Oh no!
Exclaimed Dorothy.
Help!
Cried the Scarecrow suddenly. Everyone looked and realized the Scarecrow was no longer on the raft. He was holding onto his pole in the middle of the river.
What should we do?
Shouted Dorothy.
Goodbye!
Shouted the Scarecrow, waving from the pole. The Tin Man began to cry.
Stop!
Said Dorothy.
Crying will make you rust, and that will make a bad situation worse.
The Tin Man dried his eyes on Dorothy's dress.
We must get across or we are doomed!
Said the lion.
I can swim, but you must hold my tail and pull the raft.
What should we do now?
Said the Tin Man when they had reached shore.
We must get back to the road.
Said Dorothy.
We should follow the river upstream.
Said the lion, shaking himself dry.
It will take us back to the road.
Look,
Said the Tin Man, pointing to the Scarecrow perched upon his pole.
How can we save him?
Asked Dorothy.
Well, if one of you could fly, it would be easy.
Said the Scarecrow. Just then a great white stork flew overhead.
Mr. Stork,
Shouted the Tin Man.
It's Mrs. Stork.
Said the stork, annoyed.
Oh, don't listen to the Tin Man.
Said Dorothy sweetly.
I can see you are a wonderful mother,
Why, yes, I am.
said the stork happily.
And who are you?
I'm Dorothy, and these are my friends. We are on our way to see the Wizard of Oz,
She said,
I see.
said the stork.
But this isn't the road to Oz.
I know.
Said Dorothy.
Our friend needs our help, but none of us can fly.
I can fly.
Said the stork proudly.
Could you help our friend?
Asked Dorothy.
He looks heavy.
Said the stork.
Oh no, he's very light,
Replied Dorothy.
he's made of straw.
The stork flew to the scarecrow, grabbed him with her claws, and easily brought him to shore.
Thank you.
Said the scarecrow, happy to be back with his friends.
That's all right.
Said the stork.
I like to help people who are in trouble. Now I must return to my babies. Have a good trip to Oz.
Dorothy and her friends waved goodbye as the stork flew away.
Look!
Shouted the lion.
There's the yellow brick road!
Let's get back to the road,
Said Dorothy happily. She started to run, and her friends followed her. Soon Dorothy stumbled because she felt sleepy. But she did not get up.
Dorothy, what's wrong?
Asked the Tin Man.
It's the flowers.
Said the lion sleepily.
They are magic and make people sleep forever.
Don't you fall asleep too.
Said the scarecrow to the lion.
You are too big for us to carry.
Get out of here as fast as you can.
The Tin Man told the lion.
We will bring Dorothy.
The lion tried to run, but he soon fell asleep. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 6, Queen of the Field Mice.
The lion fell asleep too.
Said the Tin Man. The scarecrow nodded.
I'm sorry to leave him here, but we'd better take Dorothy to safety.
We can't be far from the road.
Said the Tin Man. As soon as he spoke, the road seemed to appear.
Will Dorothy sleep forever?
Asked the Tin Man impatiently.
I don't know.
Said the scarecrow.
I wish I had a brain so I could think of a way to help the lion too.
Suddenly, a large cat came bounding out of the woods. It was chasing a tiny gray field mouse. As the mouse ran by, the Tin Man raised his axe and shouted.
Stop!
The cat saw the Tin Man and froze. Just as the Tin Man swung his axe, the cat jumped and ran back into the woods. "Thank you for saving my life," said the mouse.
Don't mention it.
Said the Tin Man.
I have no heart, so I am careful to help everyone, even a mouse.
"Even a mouse?" she said indignantly. "Why, I am the queen of all the field mice,"
Oh,
said the Tin Man, as he noticed her crown and several other mice behind her. "You have saved my life," said the queen. "I owe you a favor." Just then, Toto woke up and barked, causing the mice to run. The Tin Man took Toto in his arms.
come back! Come back! Toto will not hurt you.
Shouted the Tin Man.
I promise, Toto won't hurt you.
"Are you sure he will not bite us?" asked the queen.
I won't let him.
Said the Tin Man firmly. The mice returned, and the biggest mouse looked at the Tin Man and asked,
How can we repay you for saving the Queen?
We need help rescuing a friend.
said the Scarecrow. "We are small," said the Queen. "How can we help?"
Are there many of you?
asked the Scarecrow. "Yes, there are thousands of us," answered the Queen.
Bring them all, and a lot of string.
Said the Scarecrow. Now Dorothy woke up and walked over to her friends.
Tin Man,
Said the Scarecrow.
I need you to build us a cart so we can carry the lion on it.
The Tin Man began to chop down trees and make the cart. Soon the mice returned, and there were many thousands of them. The Scarecrow and the Tin Man pushed the lion onto the cart.
Okay, he's on.
Shouted the Tin Man.
Pull!
Shouted the Queen to her subjects. Slowly at first, and then more swiftly, the cart began to move.
If you ever need us again, just come to the field and call,
Said the Queen.
We will hear you.
Soon the lion began to stir.
I ran as fast as I could, but the flowers were too strong.
He murmured.
How did you move me?
The Scarecrow and the Tin Man explained that the mice had saved him. The lion laughed.
I have always thought myself very big and terrible, yet flowers almost killed me, and some mice saved my life.
I wonder if we are close to Oz,
Said Dorothy.
I don't know,
Said the Scarecrow.
but there is one way to find out.
The group happily returned to the road, and they were relieved because they thought they had left their adventures behind them.
We must be in the land of Oz,
Said Dorothy.
Yes,
Said the Scarecrow.
the favorite color here seems to be green, as it probably is in the Emerald City.
It is getting dark.
Said Dorothy.
We will need to stop for the night.
At the next farmhouse, Dorothy bravely knocked. Yes, said the woman at the door.
Can we spend the night?
Asked Dorothy. That depends. Is your lion tame? Asked the woman.
Oh, yes,
Said Dorothy.
he is a coward and wouldn't hurt a fly.
Okay, said the woman. You may stay here tonight. Where are you headed?
We are going to see the Wizard of Oz,
Answered Dorothy. I don't think you will see the wizard, said the woman. I have been to the Emerald City many times, and I have never seen him. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 7, The Emerald City. Dorothy pointed to some bright lights in the distance.
That must be the Emerald City,
She said,
We'll reach it by noon.
said the Scarecrow. As they walked, their excitement and fear grew. They were excited because the answer to their dreams was in sight. But they were worried because of what the woman had told them. She had never seen the Wizard of Oz. When they reached the city, they found the gate locked. Dorothy rang the bell. A man appeared and asked,
What do you want?
We have come to see the Great Oz,
answered Dorothy. The man was so surprised by the answer that he fell down.
No one sees Oz.
Said the man.
He is a powerful and terrible wizard, and he dislikes being bothered.
We won't be a bother because our need is great.
Said the Scarecrow.
We have heard that the Great Oz is good,
Added Dorothy.
I will take you to his palace,
Said the man.
but you must wear these tinted glasses.
Tinted glasses?
Asked Dorothy.
Yes,
Said the man.
without them you would be blinded by the brilliance and brightness of the Emerald City.
Before Dorothy and her friends entered the city, each was fitted with tinted glasses, even Toto. The man led them to a great palace in the center of the city.
Here are strangers.
He said to a soldier.
They demand to see the Great Oz.
The soldier nodded.
Step inside. I will take your message to Oz.
With that, he disappeared for a long time.
Have you seen Oz?
asked Dorothy when he returned.
No,
Replied the soldier.
I've never seen him. But I spoke with him. He will see each of you alone, and just one of you a day. You must wait in the palace until he calls you. Now you can go to your rooms.
Follow me, a girl said to Dorothy. I will show you to your room. Dorothy followed the girl, who took her to a beautiful room with a fountain.
Oh, it is lovely,
Said Dorothy. Make yourself at home, said the girl. Oz will send for you tomorrow. The next morning the girl returned, and she helped Dorothy dress. She even tied a green ribbon around Toto's neck. Are you really going to see Oz? Asked the girl shyly.
Of course,
Said Dorothy.
if he will see me.
The girl led Dorothy through the palace.
What is your business?
Demanded the soldier who stood outside the throne room. Dorothy was quite surprised.
I am here to see Oz,
She said uncertainly.
I spoke to you yesterday. Will he see me?
He will.
Said the soldier.
He is not happy about it. But I told him about the silver shoes on your feet and the kiss upon your forehead, so he agreed to see you.
A bell rang,
That is the signal.
said the soldier.
You must go into the throne room alone.
Dorothy walked in as bravely as she could. The room was both strange and wonderful. It was made of emeralds, and the light shining from above made everything sparkle. The throne itself was the strangest thing in the room. It was bigger than any chair Dorothy had ever seen. Floating just above it was a giant head with no body. As Dorothy looked at the head, its eyes opened and began to stare at her.
I am Oz.
Said the giant head.
Who are you and why do you seek me?
The voice wasn't as awful as Dorothy expected. So she bravely said,
I am Dorothy from Kansas. I need your help.
Before I help you,
said Oz.
you must answer some questions. Will you tell the truth?
Yes,
Answered Dorothy, because she had no reason to lie. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 8, The Quest.
Remember to answer truthfully.
Said Oz.
Where did you get the silver shoes?
I got them from the Wicked Witch of the East.
Said Dorothy.
My house fell on her and killed her.
How did that mark get on your forehead?
Asked Oz.
That is where the Good Witch of the North kissed me.
Answered Dorothy. The eyes stared at Dorothy and said,
You answered truthfully. What do you want?
I want to go home.
Said Dorothy.
I'm sure Aunt Em is worried about me.
Why should I do this for you?
Asked Oz.
Because you are a great wizard and I am only a girl.
Replied Dorothy.
You were strong enough to kill the Wicked Witch of the East.
Said Oz.
I didn't do it.
Said Dorothy.
It just happened.
In this country, you must help me before I help you.
Said Oz.
You cannot expect to get something for nothing.
What must I do?
Asked Dorothy.
You must kill the Wicked Witch of the West.
I can't.
Exclaimed Dorothy, surprised.
You killed the Wicked Witch of the East.
Said Oz.
You wear the silver shoes. They have powerful magic. There is only one Wicked Witch. When you can tell me she is dead, I will send you back to Kansas.
Dorothy was disappointed and began to weep.
You won't see your aunt and uncle again until the witch is dead.
Oz continued.
Remember, the witch is evil and should be killed. Now go! Don't ask to see me again. This is your quest. Complete it, and I will see you home.
Dorothy left the throne room. She was surprised to see her friends waiting for her.
What happened?
Asked the Tin Man.
There is no hope,
Said Dorothy.
Oz says I must kill the Wicked Witch of the West. If I don't, he won't help me.
Her friends were sad and worried because they wondered what Oz would ask them to do. The Scarecrow saw Oz the next day.
I am Oz. Who are you, and why do you seek me?
Asked the Wizard.
I am the Scarecrow, and I'm made of straw.
Said the Scarecrow.
I want a brain instead of straw in my head.
In this country, you must help me before I help you.
Said Oz.
What must I do?
Asked the Scarecrow.
You must kill the Wicked Witch of the West.
Said the Wizard.
You asked Dorothy to do that.
Replied the Scarecrow.
I did.
Said Oz.
I don't care who kills her. Do it, and I will give you a brain.
The Scarecrow was very disappointed. The Tin Man saw Oz the next day.
I am Oz. Who are you, and why do you seek me?
Asked the Wizard.
I am the Tin Man. I want a heart so I can love again.
Said the Tin Man.
You cannot expect to get something for nothing.
Said Oz.
What must I do?
Asked the Tin Man.
You must kill the Wicked Witch of the West.
Growled Oz.
Help your friends in this quest, and I will give you a heart.
The Tin Man was very disappointed, so he began to weep. The Lion saw Oz the next day.
I am Oz. Who are you and why do you seek me?
Asked the Wizard once again.
I am the Cowardly Lion. I want courage so I am never afraid again.
Answered the Lion.
In this country, you must help me before I help you.
Said Oz.
What must I do?
Asked the Lion.
Bring me proof that the Wicked Witch of the West is dead, and I will give you courage.
Said Oz. The Lion ran from the room. Dorothy looked at her friends and asked,
What shall we do?
There's only one thing to do.
Said the Lion.
We must go to the West.
Continued the Tin Man.
We must kill the Wicked Witch.
Finished the Scarecrow.
But how?
Asked Dorothy nervously.
I don't know,
Answered the Scarecrow.
but I want a brain, and you want to go home. The Tin Man wants a heart, and the Lion wants courage. So we must complete this quest.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Chapter 9. Wicked Witch of the West.
Which road leads to the Wicked Witch of the West?
Asked Dorothy politely as they left the Emerald City.
There is no road.
Answered the gatekeeper.
But if you want to find the witch, it is easy. Go west to the land of the Winkies. There the witch will find you and make you her slaves.
We won't become her slaves.
Said the Scarecrow.
We plan to destroy her.
Oh, that's different.
Said the gatekeeper.
But no one has ever destroyed her before, so I thought she would make you her slaves.
They walked all day. The land became scarier as they went west. That night, Dorothy, Toto, and the Lion rested on the grass while the Scarecrow and the Tin Man stood guard. From her tower, the Wicked Witch of the West used her magic to spy on Dorothy and her friends. The witch was angry to see them so near. She took a silver whistle from around her neck and blew it once. Soon, a pack of evil-looking wolves gathered around her tower.
No!
The witch screamed.
Tear them to pieces!
Do you hear that?
Asked the Scarecrow.
Yes, it sounds like wolves.
Said the Tin Man.
Get behind me. This is my fight.
The wolves leaped out of the mist, and the Tin Man struck each one down with his axe. The next morning, Dorothy was quite scared to see the pile of dead wolves.
Don't worry,
Said the Scarecrow.
we will protect each other.
From her tower, the witch was also looking at the dead wolves, and the scene made her angry. This time, she blew the whistle twice. Soon, a giant flock of crows darkened the sky.
Go!
Screamed the witch.
Peck out their eyes and tear them to pieces!
The crows immediately flew toward Dorothy and her friends. The Scarecrow saw the crows coming and ordered.
Lie face down on the ground. This is my fight.
The crows were scared when they saw the Scarecrow, but the King Crow said.
He is only made of straw!
The King Crow flew at the Scarecrow. But one by one, the Scarecrow caught and killed each crow. When he was done, he said to his friends,
Get up. I have won.
From her tower, the witch watched, and she was furious. Again, she took out her whistle, and this time she blew on it 3 times. A swarm of bees appeared.
Go!
Screamed the witch.
Sting them to death!
The bees flew east.
Look,
Said the Tin Man.
bees.
Quick, cover Dorothy and Lion with my straw.
Said the Scarecrow.
The bees won't be able to sting them.
The bees came and found no one but the Tin Man, and of course they could not sting him since he was made of metal. The witch was now a little worried. She had already used many of her most powerful weapons. She had only one weapon left. She opened her closet and took out a golden hat.
This is the last time I can use you!
Said the witch. Then, in a strange voice changed by the magic of the hat, she shouted,
By my command!
Soon a flock of winged monkeys circled her tower. The largest monkey flew to her and said,
What do you command?
Go and destroy them all!
Said the witch.
Except the lion. I want to make him my pet.
The winged monkeys did as she commanded. One group grabbed the Tin Man, carried him high into the sky, and dropped him onto some rocks. Another group pulled the straw out of the Scarecrow, scattered it, and then placed his clothes in the tallest tree. A third group tackled the lion, tied him with ropes, and brought him to the witch. But they did not harm Dorothy,
We cannot harm the girl.
said the largest monkey.
Bring her to the witch. She will deal with her.
The monkeys took Dorothy to the witch's tower and then disappeared. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 10, At the Witch's Tower. The lion was the witch's slave, but he was not cooperating,
If I cannot ride you like a horse,
called the witch.
then I will starve you. Serve me or die. It is your choice.
The lion roared loudly and leaped toward the witch.
Maybe you'll change your mind.
She said,
I will come back tomorrow.
Come into this yard and I will bite you.
said the lion to the witch. The lion wasn't worried about starving because he knew Dorothy would bring him food. Dorothy was the witch's slave, too. And every night she sneaked out of her room and into the kitchen to steal food. She took the food to the lion, and the two of them talked about their troubles. The witch was unhappy. The lion refused to serve her, and Dorothy still wore the silver shoes,
I must get those silver shoes.
said the witch to herself. Dorothy never took the silver shoes off, except when she took a bath. Luckily, the Wicked Witch was too afraid of the water to go into the bathroom. The witch spent most of her time thinking of a way to steal the silver shoes. Finally, she had a plan. She took an iron bar and made it invisible. Then she placed it in the middle of the kitchen and she waited for Dorothy, who was busy working, to walk by. Dorothy had many things to clean, and she was carrying 2 big buckets of water. She couldn't see the invisible bar, so she stumbled over it. She didn't fall, but one of her silver shoes came off. The witch grabbed it and put it on.
Give me back my shoe!
Shouted Dorothy.
I will not,
Replied the witch.
It is my shoe now, and not yours.
Toto ran over and bit the witch as hard as he could, but the witch did not bleed. She was so wicked that her blood had dried up long ago. The witch hit Toto hard with her broom. This made Dorothy angry.
Evil witch!
She screamed. In her anger, Dorothy picked up a bucket of water and threw it at the witch. The water soaked the witch from head to foot.
No!
Screamed the witch.
Not water! Look what you have done! I am melting!
Dorothy could hardly believe her eyes. The Wicked Witch was melting, just as sugar melts in water. Dorothy was still afraid, though. She took the other bucket of water and poured it on the bubbling heap.
My shoe!
Said Dorothy. She picked it up, dried it off, and put it back on. In the distance, Dorothy could hear Toto barking.
Why is Toto barking?
Asked the lion.
He is happy!
Answered Dorothy.
Because the witch is dead!
Dead?
Asked the lion.
Yes, she melted when I threw the water at her!
Answered Dorothy.
I washed her wickedness away!
The lion was pleased, and he was happy to be free. Toto's barking brought the Winkies into the castle.
You are free!
Shouted the lion.
Just like me!
The Winkies immediately began to sing and dance, for they had been slaves for many years.
I wish our friends were here to see this,
said Dorothy sadly.
Let's try to save them,
said the lion.
Do you think we can?
Asked Dorothy.
I didn't think we could kill the Wicked Witch,
said the lion.
but you did, so now I think anything is possible.
We will help you.
Said the oldest-looking Winky. It took several days of searching. They found the Tin Man, but they found only the Scarecrow's straw. They brought what they found back to the witch's tower. They repaired the Tin Man, and soon he was as good as new.
Thank you.
He said.
But where is the Scarecrow?
We could only find his straw,
said Dorothy sadly.
His clothes are gone,
Oh, yes, I remember.
said the Tin Man.
The winged monkeys put the Scarecrow's clothes in a tree. Let us go there, and I will chop it down.
At last, everyone was reunited, and they made plans to return to Oz immediately,
I will get a heart.
said the Tin Man.
I will get a brain.
Said the Scarecrow.
I will get some courage.
Said the Lion.
and I will go home,
said Dorothy happily. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 11, The Journey Back to Oz. The Winkies were very grateful to Dorothy and her friends, so they gave them many gifts. They gave the Lion and Toto gold collars. They gave the Tin Man a gold-handled axe and a jewel-covered oil can. They gave the Scarecrow a walking stick with a gold handle, and they gave Dorothy a gold bracelet. It had jewels to match the golden hat she had taken after the witch melted. The journey back to Oz was long and difficult. The winged monkeys had flown the Tin Man and Scarecrow a great distance before dropping them. Dorothy and the lion had been taken all the way to the castle. They followed the rising sun, but then it became cloudy and the sun was gone. It remained cloudy for several days, but the group continued.
We have lost our way,
Said the Scarecrow.
If we walk far enough,
Said Dorothy.
we will arrive somewhere.
The others didn't look hopeful.
Let's call the field mice.
Suggested the Tin Man.
Why didn't we think of that before?
Asked the Scarecrow. Dorothy took out the witch's silver whistle and blew. Soon many gray field mice as well as the Queen herself arrived.
How can we help you?
Asked the Queen.
We are lost.
Answered Dorothy.
How do we get to Oz?
It is quite far, replied the Queen. Because you've been walking in the wrong direction. It will take you many days to reach Oz. Why don't you call the winged monkeys to take you there?
The winged monkeys?
Asked Dorothy, not understanding the Queen.
You are wearing the golden hat, so you can command the winged monkeys,
Said the Queen.
But how?
Asked Dorothy.
The directions are inside the hat,
Answered the Queen. After reading the directions, Dorothy put the hat back on her head and stood with her feet apart. She raised her hands above her head and said,
By my command!
The magic of the hat changed Dorothy's voice, and the sound scared her and her friends. The King of the Monkeys bowed before Dorothy and asked,
What is your command?
We wish to go to the Emerald City,
said Dorothy.
We will carry you.
Replied the king. The monkeys quickly obeyed Dorothy's command, and soon they were flying toward Oz.
Why must you obey me?
Asked Dorothy.
It is our punishment.
Replied the king.
We made mischief on a princess. Her husband gave the golden hat to her on her wedding day. She used the hat to order us out of her kingdom.
How did the Wicked Witch get the hat?
Asked Dorothy.
We don't know,
Said the king.
but she made us do terrible things. We enslaved the Winkies and drove Oz himself out of the land of the West. Then she ordered us to kill you, but we couldn't because of the good witch's kiss.
Look!
Shouted Dorothy.
There's the Emerald City!
The winged monkeys left Dorothy and her friends at the Emerald City's gate. Dorothy and her friends thanked them for the ride, and the winged monkeys flew away.
Now we will get what we have been promised,
Said the Scarecrow happily, and they rang the bell.
What? Back again?
Asked the gatekeeper in surprise.
You see us, so you know we are here.
Said the Tin Man.
But you went to visit the witch.
He replied.
We did visit her.
Said the lion.
And she let you go?
The gatekeeper asked in disbelief.
She melted, so we were free to go.
Answered the Scarecrow.
She melted? Who melted her?
The gatekeeper asked.
I did, sir.
Said Dorothy quietly.
My goodness!
The gatekeeper exclaimed.
Well, come in, come in!
While the gatekeeper placed special eyeglasses on the visitors, a large crowd gathered. News of the witch's death had spread fast, and everyone wanted to see what Oz would give to the heroes. The soldier went and spoke to Oz, but Oz did not see them that day. Dorothy and her friends returned to their former rooms and waited. Many days passed, and Oz still did not summon them. Tired of waiting, Dorothy and her friends sent a message to Oz. If you do not see us, we will call the winged monkeys and tell them to destroy the Emerald City. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 12, Toto's Great Discovery. Soon Dorothy and her friends received a message from the Wizard of Oz. It said, "I will see you tomorrow. Do not call the winged monkeys." They all went to sleep and dreamed of the gifts that Oz had promised to give them. The next morning, a soldier came to get them. He brought them into the wizard's throne room, and they were shocked to find it empty. Dorothy and her friends were each expecting to see Oz, as he had first appeared to them.
I am Oz, the great and terrible. Why do you seek me?
Said a deep voice. Dorothy and her friends looked for the speaker, but they couldn't see anyone.
Where are you?
Asked a frightened Dorothy.
I am everywhere,
Answered the voice.
We have come to claim what was promised to us,
Continued Dorothy.
What was promised?
Asked Oz.
You promised to help me get back to Kansas,
Said Dorothy.
And you promised me a brain.
Said the Scarecrow.
You promised me a heart.
Said the Tin Man.
And you promised me courage.
Said the Lion.
Is the witch dead?
Asked the voice.
Yes,
Said Dorothy.
I melted her with water.
Oh dear.
Said the voice.
Well, come to me tomorrow. I need some time to think.
Time? You've had plenty of time to think.
Said the Tin Man angrily.
We won't wait.
Agreed the Scarecrow.
Yes, you must keep your promises,
Said Dorothy firmly. The Lion roared quite suddenly because he thought that this might be a good time to frighten the wizard. Toto was so startled by the roar that he jumped out of Dorothy's arms and darted behind a curtain. The curtain fell open, revealing an old man with a bald head and a wrinkled face.
Who are you?
Asked the Tin Man with his axe raised.
I am Oz!
Said the man, trembling.
Don't strike me!
You are not the wizard I saw,
Said Dorothy.
I was just pretending,
He said. Oz showed Dorothy and the others how he had fooled them. Oz had used ropes to make images appear and disappear, and mirrors to make things appear bigger and smaller. Speakers made his voice sound as if it was coming from all around the room. Oz also told them how he had come to the Emerald City.
Many years ago, I was a balloonist.
He said.
For 2 days and 2 nights, I could not land my balloon. On the morning of the 3rd day, the balloon floated over a strange and beautiful country. The people below saw me come out of the clouds, and they thought I was a wizard. So when I landed, I just let them go on thinking that's what I was, a wizard.
I think you are a very bad man,
Dorothy scolded him.
I am not a bad man, just a bad wizard.
Said Oz sadly.
It's true I tricked the people into believing I was a wizard, but I have ruled them well.
What about my brain?
Asked the Scarecrow.
I can't give you something you already have.
Said Oz.
Experience will bring you knowledge.
That may be true, but I still want you to keep your promise.
Said the Scarecrow.
Yes, I want my courage.
Demanded the Lion.
You have it already,
Answered Oz.
But I still feel scared.
Replied the Lion.
And I want my heart.
Interrupted the Tin Man.
A heart will only make you unhappy.
Said Oz.
I want to go home,
Said Dorothy. Oz looked at each of them and said,
I have pretended to be a wizard for this long. I guess I can pretend to be a wizard for a little bit longer. Come back tomorrow. I will give the Scarecrow a brain, I will give the Lion courage, and I will give the Tin Man a heart.
What about Dorothy?
Asked Dorothy's friends.
I shall have to think about that,
Answered Oz.
I must think of a way to travel over the great desert. I will think of something, but each of you must promise to keep my secret.
They all agreed. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 13, The Magic of Oz. The next morning, Dorothy and her friends met in front of the throne room. Everyone but Dorothy was very excited to see Oz.
Congratulate me.
Said the Scarecrow.
Today, Oz will give me a brain.
Dorothy looked at her friends and said,
I like you all as you are. A brain, a heart, and courage cannot change that.
That is kind of you to say.
Said the Scarecrow.
But I would like a brain all the same.
Shall we go in?
Asked the Tin Man. The lion knocked on the door of the throne room.
Come in.
Called Oz. They found him sitting at a desk next to the window. He was thinking deeply.
I have come for my brain.
Said the Scarecrow softly.
Oh, yes.
Said Oz.
Sit down, please. First, I must place this hat upon your head. Okay? With the power vested in me, I confer a doctorate in philosophy from the University of Oz to the Scarecrow. Congratulations, Scarecrow. Here is your diploma.
Does this mean I have a brain?
Asked the Scarecrow.
It does indeed.
Said Oz.
In fact, your friends should call you Dr. Scarecrow from now on.
The Tin Man stepped forward.
I have come for a heart.
Very well,
Said Oz.
but I will have to cut a hole in your chest, and it might hurt.
I'm not worried about that.
Said the Tin Man.
I can bear any amount of pain for a heart.
Oz took a pair of tin shears from his desk and cut a square hole in the Tin Man's chest. He put a small heart-shaped clock inside the Tin Man.
There,
Said Oz.
you have a heart that any regular man would be proud of.
Thank you.
Replied the Tin Man proudly. The lion then walked forward and said,
I have come for my courage.
Here you are.
Said Oz. He handed a small green bottle to the lion.
What is it?
Asked the lion.
Well, if it were inside you, it would be called courage. Drink it.
Said Oz.
How do you feel?
Asked Oz after the lion had drunk all the liquid in the bottle.
Full of courage!
Roared the lion. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the lion walked out of Oz's throne room proudly. Dorothy remained behind and asked,
Have you found a way for me to return to Kansas?
No.
Said Oz sadly.
It was easy to make the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion happy because they believed I could do anything. But I will need a lot more than my imagination to help you get back to Kansas.
Dorothy stayed with her happy friends while she waited for Oz to think of a plan. After 4 days, Oz came to her and said,
There might be a way.
To return to Kansas?
Dorothy asked eagerly.
Yes.
Said Oz.
The one major problem for us is getting across the Great Desert. Once we cross the desert, finding Kansas should be easy. And I think I know how we can cross the desert.
How?
Asked Dorothy.
In a hot air balloon.
Answered Oz.
But how will you make it fly?
Asked Dorothy.
Well, there are 2 ways to make a balloon fly.
Answered Oz.
With gas or hot air. There isn't any gas in Oz, so we will use hot air.
We?
Asked Dorothy.
Yes, of course.
Said Oz.
I can't let you go alone. But it will take me at least a week to get everything ready. We are going to need a large balloon made of silk and a giant basket to ride in. We'll also need a bunch of ropes to tie the balloon to the basket.
Can I help?
Asked Dorothy.
If you can sew, you can help to make the balloon.
Answered Oz. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 14, Balloon Ride. When the hot air balloon was ready, Oz sent word to the people of the Emerald City. Everyone gathered to see Oz and Dorothy depart. Oz climbed into the basket and shouted to the crowd,
I'm off to see a brother wizard. While I'm gone, the Scarecrow will be your ruler. Obey him as you would obey me.
Soon the balloon was tugging at the ropes.
Come, Dorothy,
Shouted the wizard.
before the balloon flies away.
Wait! I can't find Toto!
Answered Dorothy. She spotted Toto and picked him up.
You're a very naughty dog.
She said. Oz reached out his hands to help Dorothy into the balloon when suddenly a gust of wind snapped the ropes. The balloon quickly rose into the air without her.
Come back!
She screamed,
I can't, my dear.
called Oz from the basket.
Goodbye!
The balloon rose higher and higher in the sky until it vanished behind the clouds. That was the last anyone saw of the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Dorothy dropped to the ground and cried.
I'll never go home! Never!
She moaned. The next day, Dorothy and her friends gathered in the throne room. The Scarecrow was sitting on the throne, and the others stood respectfully in front of him.
We are not unlucky,
Said the Scarecrow.
for this palace and the Emerald City belong to us. Now, if only we could convince Dorothy to live here with us.
But I don't want to live here.
Cried Dorothy.
I want to go home. I want to see Aunt Em and Uncle Henry.
What can we do?
Asked the Tin Man. The Scarecrow gave it careful thought and said,
Call the winged monkeys and ask them to carry you over the desert.
I never thought of that.
shouted Dorothy joyfully, and she ran to get the golden hat. When Dorothy returned wearing the hat, she spread her arms, and she said the magic words.
By my command.
Soon the Monkey King arrived and said,
What do you command?
I want you to fly me back to Kansas.
said Dorothy.
We cannot.
Said the king.
Our ability to fly is limited to Oz. Another command we will gladly obey, but we cannot fly across the great desert.
The king bowed and flew away. Dorothy was ready to cry again,
Don't cry.
said the kind-hearted Tin Man.
No, don't cry.
Said the Scarecrow.
Let us ask the soldier for advice.
They asked the soldier, and he said,
Glinda's castle is on the edge of the desert. She might know a way across.
Who is Galinda?
asked the Scarecrow.
She is the good witch of the south.
Replied the soldier.
How can we get to her castle?
Asked Dorothy hopefully.
It is both easy and hard.
Answered the soldier.
The road is straight south, but there are many dangers.
Dorothy and her friends thanked the soldier for his advice.
The answer is simple.
Said the Scarecrow.
Yes, it is.
Said the Lion.
We'll leave tomorrow.
Said the Tin Man.
I think that's best.
Said the Scarecrow.
Are you all coming with me?
Asked Dorothy, surprised.
Of course.
Said the Lion.
None of us would have met Oz if it weren't for you.
Early the next morning, the friends gathered at the city gate. The gatekeeper removed their glasses and said to the Scarecrow,
You must return to us as soon as you can because you are our ruler now.
I will.
said the Scarecrow.
But first I must help Dorothy get home.
Dorothy was glad to be on her way home. The others were happy too, and they talked about how great the Wizard of Oz had been. Dorothy knew that Oz wasn't a great wizard. He hadn't returned her to Kansas, but he had tried, so she forgave him. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 15, The Strange Lands to the South. On the second day of the journey south, Dorothy and her friends passed through an airy forest. At the edge of the forest, they came to a wall. The wall went in both directions for as far as the eye could see. The wall was white, shiny, and smooth, like the surface of a dish. It was about 5 meters high.
What shall we do now?
Asked Dorothy.
I will make a ladder.
Said the Tin Man. The first one up the ladder was the Scarecrow. When the Scarecrow reached the top, he said,
Oh my, this is amazing!
The others quickly followed him up the ladder, and all were amazed by what they saw. There were many brightly painted houses made of porcelain. Each was quite small, the biggest being only as high as Dorothy's waist. There were also pretty little barns with white porcelain fences, and many porcelain cows, sheep, horses, pigs, and chickens. The porcelain people were both strange and beautiful.
We must cross this strange place to get to the other side,
said Dorothy.
It would be unwise for us to go in any direction but south.
They walked through the land, and they came to a pretty porcelain milkmaid milking a cow. The cow gave a sudden kick. The stool, the pail, and the milkmaid were knocked over. Dorothy was shocked to see that the cow had broken its leg. The milkmaid shouted at them angrily.
Look what you have done!
We must be very careful.
Said the Tin Man.
Everything is easily broken.
Dorothy thought all these porcelain creatures were beautiful. When she saw a princess, she followed her. The princess started to run, and Dorothy kept following.
Don't chase me!
Yelled the princess.
Why not?
Asked Dorothy.
Because if I run, I might fall and break!
Answered the princess.
But you could be mended,
replied Dorothy.
Yes, but I would not be as pretty after being mended,
said the princess.
I think you are very beautiful. Will you come with me to Kansas?
Asked Dorothy.
If I leave this land, I will turn into solid porcelain,
said the princess.
That would make me very unhappy.
Oh, I didn't know,
said Dorothy.
I wouldn't want that to happen.
Dorothy and the princess waved goodbye. Soon the travelers came to another wall, and they climbed over it.
This forest is perfectly delightful,
said the lion.
Never have I seen a more beautiful place.
It seems gloomy,
said the Scarecrow.
Not to me,
replied the lion.
The ground looks soft, and the moss is so green. I would like to live here for the rest of my life.
Perhaps there are animals that live here,
said Dorothy.
Perhaps,
said the lion.
But I do not see any of them.
They had walked only a little farther when they came to the greatest gathering of wild beasts they had ever seen.
Welcome, King of the Beasts,
said a tiger.
Have you come to fight the monster? What monster?
Asked the lion. The tiger described a spider-like creature as large as an elephant. The lion thought for a moment and asked,
Are there any other lions in this forest? Not now,
answered the tiger.
The monster has eaten them. If I kill this monster for you, will you bow before me and call me your king?
Asked the lion.
We will,
roared all the animals at once. The monster was sleeping when the lion found it, and it was as ugly as the tiger had described. The lion saw the monster's weakness. It had a large head that was connected to a large body by a slender neck. The lion jumped, landed on the monster's back, and used his large paw to knock the monster's head from its body. The lion returned, and the animals gave a great cheer.
I have killed the monster,
the lion declared. All the animals bowed before their new king.
Now I must help Dorothy return to Kansas,
said the lion.
After that, I will return.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Chapter 16, The Journey Home. The next morning, the travelers passed through the forest and came to a steep hill,
That will be a difficult climb,
said the Scarecrow.
but over it we must go.
He had started up the hill when a rough voice said,
Keep back!
Who are you?
asked the Scarecrow,
This hill belongs to us. You cannot cross it.
said the voice again,
But we must cross it.
said the Scarecrow,
You will not.
said a flat-headed, armless creature. The Scarecrow did not fear such a helpless creature, so he continued up the hill. The creature's head struck the Scarecrow like a hammer, and the Scarecrow went tumbling down the hill. The hammerhead called down.
Climbing the hill won't be as easy as you think.
As Dorothy helped the Scarecrow up, the Tin Man suggested,
Let's call the winged monkeys. You can command them once more.
Everyone thought it was an excellent idea. Dorothy put on the golden hat, spread her arms, and said,
By my command!
A moment later, the king landed, bowed, and said,
What do you command?
Take us to the castle of Glinda, the Good Witch of the South.
She answered,
It shall be done.
answered the king. He and his monkeys picked up the travelers and flew them south. The king and his followers dropped Dorothy and her friends off in front of Glinda's castle. Before the gate were 3 beautiful girls dressed in red. As Dorothy approached, one of the girls asked, Why have you come to Glinda's castle?
To see the Good Witch,
answered Dorothy. What is your name? I will find out if she will see you, said the girl. Dorothy and her friends gave their names, and soon they were admitted. They were taken to a room in which a beautiful woman sat upon a ruby throne.
What can I do for you, my child?
Asked Glinda.
My greatest wish is to return to Kansas,
Answered Dorothy.
I can tell you how,
Said Glinda.
but I will need the golden hat.
You can have it.
Said Dorothy gladly.
Thank you.
Said Glinda, taking the hat from Dorothy.
I think I will need its 3 commands. What will you do when Dorothy leaves?
Glinda asked the Scarecrow.
I will return to the Emerald City.
Answered the Scarecrow.
I can help.
Said Glinda.
My first command to the winged monkeys will be for them to bring you there.
Thank you.
Said the Scarecrow.
What will you do when Dorothy leaves?
Glinda asked the Tin Man.
I think the Winkies need me.
Said the Tin Man.
I would like to return to the land of the West.
My second command to the winged monkeys will be for them to take you there.
Said Glinda.
Thank you.
Said the Tin Man.
What will you do when Dorothy leaves?
Glinda asked the Lion.
I will return to the forest where the animals have made me their king.
Answered the Lion.
My third command to the winged monkeys will be for them to take you there.
Said Glinda.
Thank you.
Said the Lion.
To the king of the monkeys, I will give the golden hat.
Said Glinda.
He has earned his freedom.
Thank you for your kindness and for helping my friends.
Said Dorothy.
But how will I get to Kansas?
Your silver shoes will take you there.
Said Glinda.
Just click the heels 3 times and tell the shoes where you want to go.
Dorothy turned to the Good Witch and said,
Thank you for helping me and my friends return home.
The Good Witch smiled as Dorothy hugged each of her friends. Then Dorothy held Toto in her arms and clicked the heels of her shoes 3 times.
I want to go home,
She said. Suddenly, everything began to spin. When Dorothy opened her eyes, she saw Aunt Em sitting next to her.
You are back,
Said Aunt Em.
Yes, it took me so long,
Said Dorothy.
I didn't know what the shoes could do.
Shoes? Asked Aunt Em.
Yes, the silver shoes from the witch,
Answered Dorothy. There's no witch, said Aunt Em.
but the cyclone nearly killed you. You are a very lucky girl."
But it wasn't a dream,
shouted Dorothy.
"Dream or no dream," said Aunt Em, "I'm glad you're back."
Little Fox.